Gulfstream Park. It is March 25th, 2015. Christina Bosnakis joined by Ron Nicoletti. Another warm day here in southern Florida. And Ron, not as warm as yesterday at the draw. We had the draw for the Bessalou Stables Florida Derby, which is this Saturday in the paddock. Yesterday afternoon, it was toasty.
Yeah, it was a little toasty out there. Well, we're used to it because we're out here each and every day, but it was a lot of fun. And Upstart got the outside post, so post 9, and but it should be a fun race. We got 9 entrants in the race, and it's going to be the last of 14 races on the card. Schedule will go off at 6:38 p.m., so should be a lot of fun. But before we talk more about that, I want to remind you today, we got a really nice carryover in the Rainbow Six of $111,000 plus. It starts in race number 5 today, and they hit everything on Sunday. They wiped us out except the Rainbow Six, so we got $111,000 in that. So what do you think of Upstart getting the outside post?
Well, I can tell you that his trainer, Rick Violet Jr., was not really pleased with that. He wanted really to be anywhere except for on the outside in the 9, but he's a really big, classy horse. In fact, I went up to Palm Meadows yesterday. I spent some time at the barn with Rick. They were schooling him at the gate, which Rick will do a couple of times before the big race. And not only is this horse so professional, nothing phases him. And at one point, there were a cavalry of horses up at the gate that were schooling. And Ron, nothing phases this horse. He's filled out even since the last time we saw him, which is at the Fountain of Youth in his latest race. And he looks fantastic, folks. I don't think the 9 hole is going to be a problem, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, the 2 horses that are going to give him some trouble in there, maybe it's a knockout, a break from post 4, Materiality will break from post 7. Todd Fletcher at the draw yesterday said both of those horses like to be forwardly placed, and he thinks they're going to be up there and, you know, not on the lead, but, you know, they're going to be up there, and that's their style of running. And, of course, it should be a great race and a lot of fun.
Yeah, with Upstart, Ron, I just think if he works out a trip, and as you said, if he gets good position early, I think we're in good shape. But what I saw physically, that horse, they're going to have their running shoes on to beat him, because he's just going from strength to strength, and he's certainly moving in the right direction, not only for this weekend's Florida Derby, but also looking ahead to the Spring Classic. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Huge weekend this upcoming weekend with, I think, 8 stakes. 8
stakes races, part of that 14-race card. And as I mentioned, special 12 o'clock post, so make sure you get here early. Our show will be on at 11 a.m., and it should be a lot of fun. Like I say, 8 stakes races throughout the afternoon, and it should be some really nice races. They're actually drawing those races today, so we'll know a lot more about them later on this afternoon. Of course, when we're on the show tomorrow, we'll tell you exactly what's going on.
Well, we will jump into today's 10-race card, and it kicks off with a 12-5 claiming event. It is 7 furlongs on the main track, and we do my top selection in here, Ron, is a horse that you used, number 8, Some Like a Lady. A little bit of a head scratcher last time. Ron she showed some speed, and she wilted. She is putting it mildly, actually. And she was beaten over 15 lengths. But I'm hoping she's going to run back to her earlier form when she ran at 6 furlongs. Again, the distance a bit of a question mark. I'm not sure if it's actually the distance to blame or just last time that she just didn't have the cleanest of trips.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the performance 2 back at $14,000 level was pretty nice. And as you mentioned, last time 4th place showing at this 7 furlong distance. I did go with the number 6 in here, Transuente. This one is turning back to 7 furlongs after opening up. You look at its last race, opened up a quick 3-length lead before settling for second, beaten 3 lengths against Similar, going a mile. Gilberto Zerp is the trainer. Jockey Josie Gomez is her daughter of Brother Derek. This horse will be out there on the engine and trying to play Catch Me If You Can, I believe, and they just might not at this 7 furlong distance. And I also used the 5 Gray Sunshine. Solid maiden winning at this distance back in January. And, you know, if you follow my handicapping, I like horses that have proven commodities at 7 furlongs.
You look on to the second race on the card, which kicks off the early pick 4, and it is a starter optional claiming event with a claiming tag, $25,000, 5 furlongs on the turf course. My top pick, I went with number 7, Imperial Robin. And Ron, this horse looks like he's going to have, there is some speed in here, and I'm hoping he's going to be close up, just settling just off that speed.
Yeah, he's going to sit right off that sizzling pace scenario of the horse we both have in second. So Imperial Robin going to sit there. held both set fractions. So listen to these: 20-2 and 42-2 before fading to finish 6th behind Imperial Robin last time out. So there's the pace scenario that we're seeing again. Trainer George Navarro, leading jockey Javier Castellano, returning on the speedy son of Consolidator. They might, have learned something not to go that fast early and save something more for the stretch run. And I used number 2, Tripsky, who moved to the Eddie Keneally Bonvita claim, rallied from 11 lengths off the pace last time to come within the next. So if this pace scenario that we see, this horse might come flying the best of all later in the later stages of the race.
We look on to the third race on today's card, and it is a 62.50 claiming event, 5.5 furlongs on the main track. There is one scratch, and it's a significant scratch, and that's Stone Jack, number 4. You used him. I used him.
He was my top pick, I guess. Mine.
And I had him in second, so he's out. So did it change everything up for you a whole lot?
Yeah, it really changed a lot in here, and I ended up with the 5 Cesar Run, but I know you went with the 3 Garabato in here. But we have a horse that we want to show you that we both put in third that had a legitimate excuse last time out.
Yeah, we are going to take a look at number 6, and that's Be a Wildcat, and 5th last time. But if we look at earlier on in that race, right here, you're going to see him takes back just a little bit. Right there, he's checked. Takes back a little bit, and you can see it. This is great, Ron, because when you look at it from the pan shot, it wasn't that dramatic.
But when you see it from there,
when
boy, what a difference.
Yeah, he had
should have put this one on top.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so that's a good video. So I think that definitely one that you're going to have to use, and also going to be showing speed. Ron, isn't going to be helped by the fact that Stone Jack came out, who's going to likely be showing speed, was going to be showing speed.
Yeah, my selections are not changed up there. They're 5, 3, and 6, I believe, in that race. I called them in, but we'll change that later on. I dropped the 1 completely with the scratch of that, so I had the 1 in third. So it's 5, 3, 6 now, and in race number 3. But I just couldn't make a case for the one who I had in third because of once they scratched the 4 horse, I just didn't think Harris had a chance, so I changed my selections on that.
Okay. We look on to the 4th race on the card, 25,000 claiming event. Mile and a 16th on the turf course. We do have a few scratches, number 3, 5, and 6. And Ron, this really shook up my race. This changed the dynamic of my race. I actually had Boss Man was the only one that was salvaged out of those scratches, and he was a winner back at Saratoga last August. 40,000 claiming company. That's for Belmont. He's run some pretty respectable races since, and he's dropping this time. Yeah,
he has his claiming tag sliced in half today after that first start. You look at his last race here on January 30th. He rallied to finish third. That was against $50,000 2 lifetime claimers. Belmont, the trainer, he's 20% with the 31 to 60 day freshening. Johnny Velasquez in the saddle. This was my top pick all along because of the drop in competition. I did lose the 2nd horse in there, which was Dobra Historia, and I scratched into number 8, Niche, who you have in 2nd. This was formerly in the late Alan Jerkins bond, and now under his tutelage of his former assistant, Fernando Abreu, stretching out an additional 16th of a mile, rallied to finish third against similar Jose Lescano in the saddle. So I just thought it was a logical choice to be on the ticket.
You mentioned Alan Jerkins. There was a memorial service here yesterday at Gulfstream in the Sport of Kings. What a great job that was done by everybody who was involved. Kate and Bradar, she was overseeing the proceedings, and it was a packed full house, great stories, so much respect and appreciation for a tremendous man. But it was great. They had a great service here.
Yeah, they were saying something like 500 people.
Yeah,
were there, so.
And yes, and I was there, and it was a true testament to a great man. We're going to take a short break, folks, and we will come back and we will have a look at today's 5th race that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six.
Gulfstream Park is one of Florida's top entertainment destinations, mixing restaurants, clubs, a casino, and international boutique shops with world-class racing. In a lavish, sun-drenched setting with the feel of a Mediterranean village, Gulfstream is a leading year-round entertainment and tourist destination and the home of luxury residences in 2014. The Stronach family, owners of Gulfstream Park, is committed to the sport of thoroughbred racing and the grace, spirit, and generosity of the horse.
The Rainbow Six is back and it's better than ever. Now with a 20-cent base wager, it will expand the market for the popular bet. And in addition to doubling the base wager, the percentage return for the winners on the day the jackpot isn't hit increases to 70%, with 30% going to the carryover pool for the next program. Gulfstream Park, you got to be here. Eat, and every day.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park, and we're going to have a look at today's fifth race that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow Six. And Ron, carry over.
$111,000 plus. Last 5 races on the card, a 20-cent wager. They've been nailing this thing throughout the meeting. We've had someone winning for $1 million. We've had someone last week winning for $200,000. So, and throughout the season, there's been some really nice payoffs. And as Christina always says, even if you don't have that one unique single ticket, the sixes have been paying great. You can make some really nice change. And the beauty, of course, is it's only a 20-cent wager in this wager, so it's fun.
So we'll see how we're going to kick it off here with this fifth race, 50,000 maiden claiming event, 7.5 furlongs on the grass. And we do have one scratch, the also eligible number 10. And Ron, my top pick, your top pick, and that's number 4, Susie's Pride of Paris, dropping for Jenna Antonucci.
Yeah, I just thought this was the logical horse, and it dropping, as you mentioned, to the $50,000 level, turning back today to 7.5 furlongs, showed good tactical speed last time out. Not only the last time out, in a trio of $75,000 maiden races, and those were going longer. I think the drop, the cutback in distance, you mentioned the trainer Jenna Antonucci, Edgard Zayas atop this daughter of Lemon Drop Kid.
Edgard Zayas, who was aboard last time, does get back aboard here today. And Ron, a couple of other horses we threw in. I know one that you also threw in, number 8, Lion Eyes. And this one from the Steve DeMauro barn, and actually was 5th last time, but just beaten just under 2 lengths.
Yeah, about 1 3/4 lengths in there, and that was against $35,000 maidens. But I did use a first-time starter in here at Spring Meets, the daughter of Spring at Last, debuting for trainer George Weaver. Series of really solid workouts on at Palm Beach Downs. Trainer Weaver is really good with first-time starters, about 21%. Luis Saez named to ride. I just thought maybe a first-time starter can jump up and grab a share in here.
Trainer jockey 23% when they combine. That's Luis Saez and George Weaver. The Stallion Spring at Last 15% with his first-time starters on the turf. That's pretty good. So Ron, I think that's one that we're going to have to watch. We're certainly going to have to watch here in the paddock. We're going to take a look at the 6th race on today's card, 6250 claiming event, 5.5 furlongs on the main track. This race kicks off the day's pick 5. And my top pick, Ron, we're pretty much in agreement here, number 2, Vinny's Wildcat. And last time, just got late and was beaten just under 2 lengths, but it was a pretty good performance. I think this is one that you've got to respect coming back here. Likely going to be fairly close up here today, but a couple of other options in here that you can use.
Yeah, I mean, Vinny's Wildcat, just to mention, moving to the Dario Vega barn today, as you mentioned, for all the reasons, going to turn back to this 5.5 furlong distance. I used the 4, and so did you. Ravello's boy has his claiming tag sliced in half, trying to recapture the form he displayed here, defeating this caliber competition, but it was way back on August 1st, albeit that was at a mile. It's Giuseppe Cederna has Luca Banic in the saddle today, and I just thought this would be a logical horse to put on the ticket.
And my only concern, the reason I didn't put Ravello's boy on top is just because I think he might be better just going a little bit further than today's distance. We move on to the 7th race on today's card, which kicks off the late pick 4. It is 7 furlongs on the main track, and it is a 60,000 maiden claiming event. And my top pick, I went with number 7, and that's Lilikoi. Again, I'm hoping Jenna Antonucci is going to be having a really good day here, Ron, and she does such a good job. And this one showed speed last time. Just got a little bit tired late after being prompted during the early going, but this is going to be the speed. We're cutting back from a mile. We're cutting back to 7/8. I think that's going to help. And number-wise, I think this horse is in the mix.
Yeah, I've had him on my ticket, but I did go with the number 4 in here, that Starship Hostility. And I'm going to go back and show you a video of this horse turning back to 7/8 on the main track today. On the turf last time out was the 8 horse in here. Had a bit of trouble in this race, and that's the reason I just thought this horse, wasn't able to run. Yeah, you see, getting steady down. Just had to get back to last. Basically, after this, had no chance. So I thought that turning back to 7/8 today, Paco Lopez, Alan Iwinski is the trainer. It's a combo surface switch and a turn back. Love going long on the grass, turning back to 7/8. 5, Bertha Girl in second, and Lily Core, your selection, I have in third.
And Warrior's Reward, who's the sire of Starship Hostility, he's got a good percentage with his horses sprinting on the dirt. He's about 15% too. I always say 10. I always factor 10 is about even. It's moderate. I see it's almost as a push. But 15% sprinting on the dirt, they actually do a little bit better. So that's going to be one to watch. I didn't use it. I also threw in number 1, Just Sisters, Jamie Ness. Jamie Ness's numbers with his first-time starters. He hits at about let's say over 40%. And the Stallion Munnings, he's about 11% with his first-time starters. A couple of nice quick works at Tampa. So I'm thinking a first-time starter, I'm going to throw that one in.
Yeah, no, I think it's a wide-open race. And when you get to these sequences with like the Rainbow Six, pick 5 and pick 4, you got to go a little deeper in there. I mean, I got the 4 horse on top, and I'm not, just singling this horse and thinking he's going to win it. But I would throw him on the ticket along with the other horses we mentioned.
We look on to the 8th race on the card, a 16,000 claiming event, a mile and a 16th on the turf course. We do have a scratch, number 5, Moose Basco. And my top pick, I went with number 9, and that's Call Up the Chief. And this is an operation that I get on. I look for quite often Anthony Cordarolo. I think that he does a good job. He'll pop with these types of horses once in a while. You look at this horse back on February 19th, ran a pretty good race, was 3rd, beaten just under 2 lengths on that day. And Ron, numbers-wise, this one fits. Last time was in the 11 hole, was camped out in the 11 hole, still ran a pretty good race. So everything considered, I think he's in the right level here today, and I'm just going to try to take a horse with maybe a little bit of a price.
Well, I got a whole story in this race because I couldn't find any speed except for one horse, and I'll mention that one in the beginning. I went with the 8 Wildcat Kid, who's making his local debut at the $16,000 level. He shipped from Ireland into the fairgrounds to run 9th against $25,000 claimers. First race in 5 months. First start with first-time Lasix. He looks like he's a late striding type. So the only speed that I could find in here, and I thought might be, I think it's 20-1 in the morning line, and that's the 6-0 to give. Dropping a notch on the claiming scale to get the call. I believe in a controlling speed, and an otherwise I thought paceless race. Son of Othello should be playing Catch Me If You Can. He's going to be on the front end somewhere. So I saw the race shaping up that way, and I threw the horse Palace Gate in there, who like all the gift, is trained by Marcus Vitale. You got speed, you got closer, one or the other, uncoupled entry. That's the way I saw the race. So I'm looking at it from that vantage point. I understand your 9 horse, but I'm thinking that this 8 horse or maybe even the 6 are going to sit real nice trips.
Ron, you make a really good point. It actually makes me think of something else. Ken and Sarah Ramsey, they're atop of the leaderboard right now for leading owners here at Gulfstream Park. We're coming down to the wire, so to speak. And they have now, and I'm just looking as of today, White Wabbit Racing, they're 2 behind. So whatever you see these 2 operations, my thought is that they're going to be firing bullets. They're going to be putting in there, they're in it to win it. I think that all the horses coming from the Ramseys, you're going to have to pay attention, folks, because like I said, Mr. Ramsey.
Right.
He wants to win.
He wants to win, and so does White Wabbit.
And so does White Wabbit. So pay attention to what they've got going, because they might have some really live horses because they're firing, they're bringing up their best ammunition. We look on to the 9th race on today's card, and it is an allowance optional claiming event. It is a mile and a 16th on the turf course. And Ron, pretty competitive race. I went with number 3, and that is Made in Detroit from the Rick Violet barn. Ran a pretty good race last time. Now, I have to say, I spoke to Rick the last time when this horse was going to run. He was in the 13 hole. He said, I like this horse. He's doing well. He seems like he's really doing well. I don't like the post.
Right.
Sure enough, the horse jumps up and he wins at 11-1
right.
That day. So 9 furlongs, we're cutting back to a mile and a 16th. I think that's all good. The work patterns, I like a very, very steady work pattern. So even based on that, he gets a much better post here today. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to come right back with this horse. And hopefully I get close to his morning line of 5-1.
Well, I got the 4 horse in here. U.S. Marshall comes off a pair of interesting performances at this level and distance to get the call. We're going to show you one of those performances. 2 back, he was disqualified and placed the 4th. He was beaten ahead in that race. And now we're going to show you this one. He He comes up here and he just gets whacked out at the 7/8 pole in here. And I just thought this horse just needs a little help from Lady Luck to get the job done. You know, he finished 7th last time out, but I thought being pushed out like that would help him. I like his spot in here. I got the number 3 Made in Detroit on my ticket, along with the number 2 Moon over Cusco, who faces winners. Used his speed last time out to defeat $100,000 maidens here. That was back on January 28th. Chad Brown, Javier Castellano, lots to like about the connections there. It's the son of Malibu Moon.
Very effective combination. Javier Castellano, Chad Brown, again facing winners for the first time. Moon over Cusco, and has done nothing wrong over the Gulfstream Park turf. So he bumped up his game certainly another notch with the moving to the turf. We look on to the 10th race of today's card. 20,000 maiden claiming event, a mile on the turf course. And Ron, as always, super high five wagering in that final race of the afternoon. And I went with the number 10, and that is Honey Eyed Michael Matz. And I was thinking about this for a long time, because originally I went with Richie's Red Hot Honey, and I know Richie's Red Hot Honey, Wesley Ward. So many things, Malibu Moon, he's okay with his first-timers on the turf. And I think if this horse can return, or she can return to her earlier form, okay, great, she's the one to beat. She's going to be a short price. I wanted a price. So I wanted to take a shot, and just going with my gut here, and that's Honey Eyed Michael Matz. Luis Saez and Michael Matz, 16%. When they combine, so on the turf, which is pretty impressive. Candy Ride, he's 13% with his horses going a rat ground on the turf. So basically, long story short, so many things that I like, and actually, I think the debut was pretty. It was a productive race.
I did not have the one on the ticket. I was doing the same thing. I was thinking. I said, you know, Richie's Red Hot Honey looks like the one to beat. So I put it on top. I got it up there. You mentioned the connections, Wesley Ward. He's 27% with the longer than 180 day. But really, no joking, what I liked about this is the steady work tab on the Palm Meadows turf up there. Number 2, who you have on the ticket, Ansiedad, but knocking on the door in 3 consecutive races at this level, and I believe really seriously merits a spot on the Super High 5 ticket. And why do I say that? I'm not so sure he can win, but I think he's got that penchant for finishing 2nd or 3rd. So I'm going to have him on the ticket, and I threw Lemons Are Good on Grass, number 7, hoping to finally notch the elusive maiden victory. Got parked wide last time out, finished 6th against this level. Scooter Dickey, I remember they liked this horse last time out. He got pushed wide, so I added him back on the ticket this time.
Yeah, I think that's a good selection. I think that's one that you're going to want to include. So as always, that final race on the card, it's always it's a great betting race and so many opportunities, and that's for the 10th and final today. But Ron, before we move on, again, we're looking ahead to this weekend. We've got the Bessalou Stables Florida Derby, and we have 9. We're going to take a look right now. Here is not only the post positions, and these are the morning line odds, and it tells you a story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it tells you a story up top. You see it there, 8-5, and the second choice in here, 2-1. It's a knockout. They're going to have that rematch in there, and third choice is another one from Todd Pletcher. By the way, it's a knockout trained by Todd Pletcher. Materiality, 7-2. The other ones, maybe some people are thinking are on the outside looking in, but I think a couple of those horses, especially Amy's Flatter on the inside, ran a really good second in the Tampa Bay Derby last time out. These horses can run pretty well in there, so turning out to be a great race, and Upstart gets that outside post, a short run to that first turn.
And the only thing Rick Violet was saying yesterday was, I don't want that outside, and that's what he got in there. But as I said, I think this horse is probably coming in as good or better than we've seen him in the past even, and I'm hoping he just works out a trip. But as we said, Todd Pletcher, who won this race, by the way, last year with Constitution, he comes back, and he's got another formidable duel. Speaking
about Constitution, I was looking at the early entries for Saturday. Constitution will be running, so you'll be able to see him. We got 8 stakes races along, concluding the Bessalou Florida Derby. So what a day it's going to be on Saturday. As I mentioned, once again, it's a 14-race card. 12 p.m. post. You got to be here early. You got to get yourself a nice seat and a nice parking space. Sit down and enjoy the pomp and circumstance of Bessalou Florida Derby Day.
We sure do have a big weekend, but on Friday we have a couple of a Grade 1 winner returning. That's Competitive Edge on a stake on Friday, and also Mr. Jordan from the Eddie Pliza barn, undefeated. So 2 really nice horses here on Friday's card, which is we've got so much happening this week.
This is a great week for Gulfstream Park when we got the Florida Derby every week. It's just so much fun, to be here and be part of it and everything like that. And like I said today, we got $111,000 in the Rainbow Six pool. Let's see if they can hit it. If not, it'll carry on, and maybe by the weekend it'll be up there, and somebody can not only come to enjoy the Florida Derby, but win $1 million for 20 cents. So you got a lot of options here, a lot of fun options.
Folks, that's it for Ron and I for now, but we will be back the rest of the afternoon, and Mr. Larry Colmus will be on in just a moment to give us all the updated scratches and changes for this afternoon. Stick around, folks. Great one on tap.